There's something about the delicate interplay between the new life in the garden and the old antique structure of the building itself that bring harmony.
Chip Gaines seemed unstoppable. The fearless contractor with boundless energy who took on every project with a grin and a sledgehammer. From flipping houses in small-town Waco to creating an empire with his wife, Joanna, he became the heart and humor of Fixer Upper. But behind the camera, life threw Chip a challenge unlike any he'd ever faced. A moment that nearly ended it all and forced him to reconsider everything he thought he knew about work, family, and health. So what really happened to Chip Gaines, and how did it change him forever? Chip Gaines was born on November 14, 1974, in the sun-soaked city of Albuquerque, New Mexico. Life in Albuquerque was simple but full of spirit, and young Chip, always a bit of a ball of energy, found plenty of ways to keep busy. But in 1982, when Chip was just 8 years old, the Gaines family packed up their life in Albuquerque and moved to Colleyville, Texas. It was here in Texas where Chip's character and dreams would begin to take shape. Texas was more than a new home. It was a world of possibilities. In Colleyville, Chip attended Grapevine High School, where he quickly settled into the rhythm of small-town life. His love for sports became clear as he took to the baseball field, playing second and third base with the intensity and passion he would later pour into all his ventures. Baseball was more than just a sport for Chip. It was his ticket to bigger things. He wasn't the biggest player, but he was scrappy, driven, and had that spark of ambition that set him apart. He worked hard, training and refining his skills, and by his junior and senior years he was a steady fixture on the team. After high school, Chip wasn't quite sure what he wanted to do next. College seemed like the logical step, so he enrolled at North Lake College, a small school where he continued to play baseball. It was here that fate seemed to intervene. During one game, a scout from Baylor University spotted Chip and liked what he saw. Baylor's baseball coach, Mickey Sullivan, extended an invitation for Chip to transfer to Baylor, a significant opportunity that brought with it a fresh sense of excitement and a chance to play at a higher level. Chip transferred to Baylor with dreams of a bright future in baseball. But life had a surprise twist waiting for him. Shortly after Chip transferred, Coach Sullivan, the man who'd seen his potential, retired. Without his champion, Chip didn't make it through the next round of cuts. Just like that, his baseball career at Baylor came to an abrupt end. He had a choice: wallow in disappointment or refocus and adapt. True to his nature, Chip didn't dwell on the setback for long. Instead, he threw himself into his studies, majoring in business administration, and graduated in 1998 with a clear resolve to make his mark somewhere else. After college, Chip was on a quest to carve out his own path. He was ambitious and constantly dreaming up new projects, dabbling in a handful of small ventures. House flipping, landscaping, selling fireworks, you name it, Chip was probably trying it out. But his life was about to take a turn suddenly. In 2001, Chip's journey led him to a small auto shop in Waco, Texas, where he found himself sitting in the waiting room, glancing around. Little did he know, the woman he'd one day marry was right there, just a few feet away. Joanna Stevens worked at her father's auto shop, and it was her that first caught Chip's eye. But fate had a twist, and Joanna wasn't even looking his way. In fact, her attention had been on someone else entirely, a man she and her co-workers called Hot John, Chip's roommate. But while Hot John had Joanna's interest, it was Chip who worked up the nerve to ask her out. Joanna, ever curious, agreed, and Chip eagerly set the time for their first date. Unfortunately, punctuality wasn't Chip's strong suit, and he showed up an hour and a half late. To most people, this might have been a deal-breaker, but there was something about his easy confidence that kept Joanna from shutting the door on him. Chip breezed in without an apology, flashing a smile that seemed to say, "This is just me." And it worked. Despite his charisma, though, that first date wasn't exactly a fairy tale. Joanna couldn't help but question whether they were really a match. Chip was animated and talked about his ideas as if each one was the next big thing. Meanwhile, Joanna was quieter, more reserved, her interests lying more in thoughtful details than in grand dreams. She even wondered if he might be just a bit too wild for her taste. But there was something about Chip. Maybe it was his unshakable optimism or his view of the world as filled with endless possibilities that intrigued her enough to give him a chance. After that first date, though, there was silence for several months. It wasn't because of disinterest, but rather, Chip had made a bet with his roommate, Hot John, to see who could wait the longest before calling their dates back. Chip's competitive nature took over, and he held off calling Joanna, determined to win that $50 bet. Eventually, though, he gave in, and their second date rekindled that initial spark. Over the next year, Chip and Joanna spent more time together, their personalities and dreams beginning to blend in unexpected ways. While Joanna still sometimes wondered what she was getting herself into, there was something about Chip's presence that drew out parts of herself she didn't even know existed. Chip's drive and his belief in untapped potential had her seeing possibilities in herself she hadn't realized before. She found herself becoming not only more open to risk but eager to create something meaningful with him. Slowly but surely their bond strengthened, each realizing they complemented the other in ways they hadn't imagined. Then, in 2002, Chip decided to make things official. He planned the proposal with that same touch of mischief and surprise that had come to define their relationship. Telling Joanna he was taking her to a concert a few hours away, he instead drove her to a shopping center close to where his parents had grown up. In the parking lot, he proposed, taking her by surprise. The magic didn't end there, though. Chip had set up an appointment with a jeweler, a family friend named Billy Holder, where Joanna could design her own ring. It was an experience she cherished, crafting a ring that would forever remind her of this whimsical and unpredictable man she'd grown to love. After their engagement, the surprises kept coming. At dinner, Joanna found both of their families waiting for them, ready to celebrate the news. It was a night filled with joy, laughter, and a feeling of togetherness that hinted at what lay ahead. On May 31, 2003, Chip and Joanna were married at the historic Earl Harrison House in Waco. Joanna wore a strapless white gown, looking every bit the bride she'd dreamed of, with a simple tiara that added a touch of elegance. They felt ready to face whatever the world had in store as they left the ceremony in a vintage car with a "Just Married" sign. Their honeymoon was short, and soon enough they were back in Waco, ready to take on their first project as a married couple. Chip had been flipping houses here and there, but now he had a partner who was just as driven, and they decided to start with their own home. Their first house was a small, run-down place that, according to Joanna, smelled bad and needed more than a little TLC. But they poured themselves into the project, working with their limited resources, and it became the foundation for their shared dream. Chip and Joanna were learning how to work together as a team through every wall they knocked down and every fixture they installed. Their contrasting personalities, Chip, the big-picture thinker, and Joanna, the detail-oriented planner, sometimes clashed. But it was in this process that they discovered how well they complemented each other. Chip's adventurous side encouraged Joanna to take risks she might not have considered, while Joanna's eye for detail ensured that no corner was cut. And in that small 800-square-foot house, Chip and Joanna found a spark that would set their entire future in motion. Their shared love of transforming neglected spaces took root there, growing in that tight budget and scrappy creativity. With no time to waste, the Gaineses poured their energy into creating something lasting together. By October 15, 2003, just a few months after their wedding, they decided to take the leap and start something of their own, Magnolia Market. It was a simple shop in Waco, stocked with home decor and unique items that Joanna picked out herself, each piece chosen with her signature eye for charm and simplicity. The store's opening wasn't grand. With a modest $5,000 loan, they had barely enough to get things started. But on that first day, 40 people came in to support them. a small but meaningful victory that Joanna would never forget. Magnolia Market was more than just a store. It was a tangible piece of their shared dream and their first step in transforming Waco one shopfront and eventually one house at a time. With Magnolia Market humming along, their personal lives soon grew as busy as their professional ones. In 2005, they welcomed their first child, a son named Drake, named after the family's favorite fishing spot. For Chip and Joanna, life was quickly filling with both business and family. 2 years later, in 2006, their family expanded again when they welcomed their first daughter, Ella Rose. The Gaineses were carving out a life, each new child adding depth and new meaning to the family they were building. And as their business ventures continued to expand, so did their brood. In 2008, they welcomed son Duke, followed closely by another daughter, Emmy Kay, in 2010. For Chip and Joanna, family wasn't just a priority. It was the foundation of everything they did. Their lives were bustling with projects and parenting, and they worked hard to keep their children grounded, even as their careers gained momentum. The Gaines kids didn't spend much time on screen, but they remained a central focus of Chip and Joanna's choices, both in their personal lives and in business. By 2011, Chip and Joanna had gained a bit of local fame in Waco for their house-flipping projects. Their eye for design and commitment to quality was drawing attention beyond just their circle of friends. But things took a surprising turn when an executive from High Noon Entertainment, a production company, stumbled across a blog featuring Joanna's work. Intrigued by their story and their undeniable chemistry, the executive reached out, suggesting a possible TV show. Chip and Joanna were a small business with a big heart, working alongside a handful of subcontractors to transform Waco's forgotten homes. But this was a game changer, an opportunity to bring their work and their story to a national audience. After a short reel was shot and shared with HGTV, the response was immediate. HGTV saw potential in the down-to-earth duo from Waco. It was official. Chip and Joanna Gaines would be getting their own show. On May 23, 2013, Fixer Upper premiered, and Chip and Joanna's lives would never be the same. Viewers loved their genuine chemistry, playful banter, and the way they combined Joanna's design expertise with Chip's wild spirit for construction. The show's popularity skyrocketed, and their projects started taking on a life of their own. Each transformation a blend of Joanna's eye for detail and Chip's rugged enthusiasm. It was real, imperfect, and utterly charming. Suddenly, the small-town couple was front and center on a national stage. As the show gained traction, Chip and Joanna didn't lose sight of their vision for Magnolia. In 2015, they took a bold step and moved Magnolia Market to the Silos, a pair of abandoned cotton silos right in downtown Waco. It was a huge investment, but they believed in the potential of the town they loved. The Silos became more than just a market. It was a symbol of their journey and their commitment to revitalizing Waco. The Magnolia Market at the Silos attracted thousands of fans, turning into a beloved destination that brought people from all over the country to their small Texas town. With Fixer Upper in full swing and the Magnolia brand taking off, the years between 2016 and 2017 saw the Gaineses expand their business ventures at an astonishing pace. They launched the Magnolia Journal, a lifestyle magazine with Joanna's unique style and wisdom, opened a bed and breakfast, and even debuted their own lines of paint, wallpaper, rugs, and furniture. Joanna's designs were everywhere, her aesthetic shaping not just the homes of Waco, but influencing home decor trends nationwide. Despite the whirlwind, they continued filming Fixer Upper, building out the Magnolia empire while raising their 4 kids. But not every moment was easy. In 2017, Chip and Joanna faced a legal issue with the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA. The agency found that during their home renovations, they had not always followed protocols for handling lead paint safely. To resolve the issue, the couple paid a $40,000 fine and committed to raising awareness about lead paint safety. In September of that same year, the Gaineses announced a major decision that shook their fan base. They would be ending Fixer Upper after its 5th season. It was a hard choice, made in the spirit of preserving their family and reclaiming some semblance of normalcy. Joanna explained in a heartfelt blog post that while they were grateful for everything the show had brought them, they needed to step back and prioritize their kids and personal lives. This choice reflected a core part of who Chip and Joanna were, family-centered, even as their careers soared. But stepping back didn't mean slowing down. Even as Fixer Upper came to an end, the couple launched new projects, including a home goods line at Target called Hearth and Hand with Magnolia, debuting just in time for the 2017 holiday season. And in early 2018, Joanna announced she was expecting their 5th child. That summer, the Gaines family welcomed baby Crew into the fold, adding one more to the bustling Gaines household. Their time away from television didn't last long. In 2019, Chip and Joanna revealed that they would be returning to the screen with a new Fixer Upper reboot. This time, however, the show would air on their own network, Magnolia Network, a rebrand of the DIY network in partnership with Discovery. Magnolia Network launched in early 2022, providing a platform not only for their own shows, like Magnolia Table and Restoration Road with Clint Harp, but also for a variety of lifestyle content that reflected the couple's values and interests. As Magnolia Network flourished, Chip and Joanna's vision continued to expand. They took on an ambitious project renovating a century-old castle in Waco, a landmark they had long dreamed of restoring. The project became a limited series, Fixer Upper, Welcome Home, The Castle, and was yet another example of their dedication to preserving Waco's history and character. Through it all, Chip and Joanna remained committed to each other and to their journey. In May 2023, they celebrated 20 years of marriage, and Chip marked the occasion with a huge gesture. A message painted on the side of the silos reading, "20 years, Jojo, 4 Eva 2 go." It was a reminder of the life they'd built together, a life filled with family, faith, and an unbreakable partnership. Despite their monumental success, they never forgot where they started. Joanna reflected in 2023 that even after all these years, their shared passion for renovating homes never gets old. But in 2019, their lives took a dramatic turn when Chip Gaines faced a health scare that no one saw coming. It was February 2019. Chip, the ever-energetic, always joking contractor, suddenly felt his heart pounding and a heaviness in his chest. It wasn't the typical fatigue or soreness from a long day on the job. Something was wrong. Doctors later called it a widowmaker heart attack, one of the most severe types with a dangerously high risk of fatality. The cause? A 90% blockage in his left anterior descending artery, a critical passage supplying blood to his heart. In a rush to save his life, Chip was rushed into emergency surgery. The medical team performed an angioplasty, inserting a stent to reopen the artery and restore blood flow. Chip's life quite literally hung in the balance, but he pulled through. His recovery in the hospital was only the beginning. Once discharged, he returned home with a completely new perspective. This heart attack was a turning point. Chip realized he couldn't go back to his old ways, pushing his body to the limit and ignoring his health. Determined to stay around for his wife and 5 children, he embraced a total lifestyle overhaul. He started with his diet, cutting back on fried foods, sugary treats, and the heavy meals he once enjoyed so much. This wasn't just a temporary fix, it became his new normal. He set up a regular exercise routine, incorporating cardio, weight training, and anything to strengthen his heart. Gradually, he shed 20 pounds, a testament to his resolve and his commitment to making a lasting change. The Gaines family felt the weight of this experience too. For Joanna and the kids, seeing Chip in such a vulnerable state was a stark reminder of how precious life is. They rallied around him during his recovery, adjusting their lives to make room for Chip's new habits. Joanna stepped up, taking on extra responsibilities in both their business and at home, giving Chip the time he needed to heal. News of Chip's heart attack hit fans hard. The fixer-upper star had always seemed unstoppable, his infectious energy lighting up every project. Social media buzzed with shock and support, as fans from all corners sent their well wishes and heartfelt prayers. On a personal level, Chip's outlook transformed. Surviving a heart attack shifted his perspective in a way nothing else could. He became more intentional, making time for moments that matter and embracing gratitude for his family and the life they'd built. Simple things he once might have overlooked, family dinners, evenings on the porch, or just tossing a ball with his kids, took on a new meaning. His love for Joanna and their children grew deeper, and he focused on being present in every moment. While his heart attack was a frightening chapter, Chip emerged with renewed strength, a fresh sense of purpose, and a mission to live fully. It wasn't just about fixing homes anymore. It was about cherishing the foundation of his own life, the family he'd nearly left behind. Chip's journey through this health crisis inspired fans everywhere, proving that even the toughest moments can spark the most powerful transformations. So what really happened to Chip Gaines? His heart attack changed him, but it didn't break him. It reshaped his life, his priorities, and brought new purpose to his journey. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and hit the bell for notifications. Stay tuned as we explore more fascinating stories behind your favorite stars.